Oh, sorry. I
excuse
think
me?
we have guests. I think we have guests. I don't know.
What's that?
I think we have guests that are going to be
think
coming
they go
before.
first.
Yeah. Call the Finance Committee back to order at 6:20. Here today is myself and Councilor Tavares.
Council Cobus, I can be your third.
And President Delicio will be my third. All right. Today we have some guests, so I'd like to welcome Marilyn to the podium.
Thank you.
So welcome, and it's great to have you. And without further ado, do you have the remote? All right,
I
you
do, right here.
Excellent. So
Okay.
take it away.
We're going to
And
do it.
welcome.
Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Marilyn Stempler, and I'm a consultant with ESC, you can see at the top, Empower Success Corps. And the Friends hired ESC to do a strategic plan for the zoo. And they hired myself and my team, and one of my team is here tonight, Rhonda. And as part of doing the strategic plan, we did a survey. And this, you will see, is the result of the survey. I sent you the full detailed analysis and 55 pages of comments that were written in that survey. And I do apologize for the 55 pages, I'm sorry, but I felt that it was in the interest of full disclosure. So I won't care if you never saw it, because you're going to hear about it tonight. So we are still not done with the strategic plan, and when we are, which should be the end of September, then we'll share it with all of you and the mayor. Now to the survey. Why did we do a survey? Well, we did 26 interviews of key stakeholders, some of which were you. I think, Diana, we did you and Jay, and I think we did Nicholas, one more, I think. So we wanted a broader community, and that's why we did the survey. And the objectives of the survey were threefold. Understand how valuable the zoo is to the community, learn about visitors' experience at the zoo, what they wanted for improvements and attractions, understand how people learn about cultural attractions in the area, and particularly about the zoo. Who responded to that survey? 911 people responded. And there were some open questions, and they wrote in over 1,600 comments, all very thoughtful. And you'll see some of them tonight. 150 volunteered for the zoo. 323 left their emails to receive more information from the zoo. And the ages were between the ages of 25 and 44. That was 61% of the respondents, which is pretty much the sweet spot of the zoo. And 1/3 of the respondents are from Attleboro.
It's interesting.
What did we learn? Well, the survey had 22 questions, and it had about, I think, 7 had the ability to write in comments. And the data told a compelling story. There were 3 takeaways that we're going to discuss tonight. The first takeaway really is about passion and history. The community is interested and passionate about the zoo and sees the zoo as part of the fabric, history, and identity of this city. So this is one of the questions that supports that takeaway. But you'll also see, and you'll see those 3, I'll call them bubbles at the bottom. The bubbles contain the relevant comments. So the relevant comments here were, we love the splash pad. We absolutely love having the zoo in our town. We love how small it is. It's educational, fun, family-friendly, beautiful, and the animals are always worth it. So that really, I will tell you, there were 262 comments or mentions that used the word love, 95 that used the word like, and 35 that used the word enjoy. And if that's not passion, it really just stood out to all of us. So why did they come to the zoo? And the most of the reasons were to spend quality time with family and friends, to see the different animals. And then you see there's some, they like the splash pad, they came to see a particular animal, or to attend a program. And there's strong recognition that the zoo has an important role in the community now and in the future. And the question that supports that is, do you feel the Cape Ron Park Zoo, and there were 5 choices, is an important resource for children to learn and have fun, can have an important role in Attleboro's future, is a valuable cultural attraction, and adds to the economic vitality of the area, and is part of what makes Attleboro a great place to live. And I don't think you can see the percentages very well, but the top one is 87% strongly agreed that it was an important resource for the kids, and that orange part attached to it is somewhat agreed, and I think it was 11 or 17%. So the top 2 at least, were over 90%, and the bottoms, they're very close. And so the comments again, on the right-hand side, the zoo is an educational resource, a place for families to connect, and a vital part of our community identity. It supports conservation, inspires young minds, and brings people together. And the middle one, this is a great zoo and a huge asset to the community. And the bottom one, the zoo is a valuable part of the town for educational purposes. It teaches kids and adults the importance of wildlife and our planet. And the comments are a sample of the many comments that you don't want to hear all of them. And lastly, when you came to Attleboro to the zoo, what else did you do? And a little less than 50% of the people said they went to a restaurant, a cafe, a gas station, a retail shop, the playground, the museum, another museum, and other locations. So the second takeaway has to do with improvement at the zoo. Respondents want the city to invest in the zoo and feel it would be a huge loss if the zoo ceased to exist. So 83% supported the city making recommended improvements to the zoo. And it's the result of this question, question 7. The Cape Ron Park Zoo is owned by the city of Attleboro. 2 recent studies funded by the city found that the zoo needs improvements to its buildings and infrastructure. Do you think the city should? And then there were 4 questions. Make recommended improvements to bring all buildings and exhibits up to modern standards. 83% checked that box. That was 691 people. Make only the most urgent improvements to the buildings and exhibits to the zoo. 14% of 43 people said that. Not make any improvements to the building and the exhibits. 1% or 3 people said that. And you can see the comments on the right. Those, again, were symbolic of all the other comments or samples. There's a tremendous return on investment in making a city a vibrant, family-friendly. It could be so much better. Upgrade for your guests and the animals' well-being. This is a gem in the city. Moderate upgrades can help without hurting the overall budget. And the word gem, you will see over and over again here as a description. So this was an open-ended question and asked, why did you choose make recommended improvements to the zoo's building and exhibits? And 332 people made a comment. And they were in these particular areas. Total zoo is outdated and improvements will increase revenue. Improvements will increase visitors, revenue, and economic benefit to the city. And the comments to the left, zoo is pretty dated and an update will draw people. The zoo buildings have severely deteriorated and look uncared for. I think the zoo needs a full overhaul to regain popularity and increase interest in membership. Those are very sobering comments. And 96% of the respondents feel it would be a significant loss to the community if the zoo ceased to exist, and you can see the percentages there. Takeaway number 3 has to do with opportunities. Respondents see a lot of opportunities for animal encounters, very different and exotic animals that would likely increase visitation. And you can see how the answers to the next few questions support that. Question 9, would the addition of the following improvements or activities make it more likely that you visit the zoo? Additional animals and exhibits. And I think that almost came to like 98%. It was 87 and 12. Animal encounters, like a petting zoo, special traveling exhibits, playgrounds, playscapes, aerial adventures, an obstacle course in the forest, carousel, or a zip line. And the answers to these questions are helping us in a strategic plan decide what the zoo should focus on. And other improvements that would bring you to the zoo. This is another open-ended question, and where they wrote in. They want to see more greater variety of animals, more interaction, and larger enclosures. And they talked about a petting zoo. Now, some of the comments were instructive. Continue evening events, pumpkin spectacular, food trucks, artisan market. How about a lantern exhibit? And a butterfly room, or birds that they can hand feed with seed sticks. And my very favorite one is the one on the left at the bottom. Story time. Bring your own blanket and listen to a story outside different animal exhibits. I bet Ramsey would love to hear a story. So in summary, the respondents, as I said, made over 1,600 comments, many praising the zoo, but an equal number recognizing the need for infrastructure improvements to increase visits and revenue. And here are some of the comments praising the zoo. And I think I said earlier, there were things like, the zoo is a treasure, one of them. I think Cape Horn Park Zoo is a jewel of Attleboro. The zoo is an incredibly important resource in this community. It would truly be a loss for this space to close. Love the events, love it here. I love going to the zoo with my family. I love the zoo and hope to see what it looks like in the future. And the zoo is a treasure. So these were all praising the zoo. And these are all comments, as I said, equally about why improvements should be made. I used to bring my children to the zoo in the 90s. It's gone down since then. Doesn't have many fun things to do, nor has it upgraded much. It's clear there needs to be a lot of upgrades to the zoo. Refreshing the zoo can help bring in more visitors. The zoo is pretty dated. It needs an update to draw people. And the bottom right, if the zoo is kept up properly, it means the city cares about the zoo, which they should. Should also help people who do not live in Attleboro want to come to the zoo. What is next? We're going to finish the strategic plan. So armed with all the data from the survey, the 26 interviews we did, we did research on best practices at other zoos. We are working with the strategic planning team of the zoo and the Friends to establish goals, action items, and implementation plan to monitor the progress going forward. And here tonight, listening to this, is not only you, but a number of the zoo team that is working on this strategic plan. So I thank them for all their work, and I hope you learned something tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes?
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilor Foer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you make any inquiries about whether people would be willing to pay more to come to the zoo?
we have done research on that, and that's part of the strategic plan, and I think it requires a vote by you all to
My
make it
que-
happen.
If I may continue.
Yes, please.
My question is whether in the survey, you asked the people who responded to the survey and who are people who care about the zoo, whether those people would be willing to pay more to come to the zoo.
I can't remember if that was the question, and I do have it here, and I can look at it offline and tell you what they said. I think that was part of it. But we've done so much research, and we've asked so many questions of, and done research, it's hard for me to remember whether that was in the survey.
Thank you.
Other questions? President Delicio.
Not so much a question, it's just more of a comment. So Marilyn, you and I have been in pretty constant contact, so I appreciate all of you coming down today. I think that the passion that the Friends and everyone involved with the zoo demonstrates is amazing. Just to add, you're right, if we were to change the pricing, it's a ordinance, so it would have to come through, whether it's new business from the administration or Derek, would come down, there would be a public hearing, and then we would deliberate on whether or not we wanted to change those fees. But this is great. I think it's putting a lot of people at ease, knowing that there is a concern. We're addressing the concern. We're looking at how do we move forward. So thank you all for your work on this.
Well, you're welcome. It was our pleasure. It really has become our passion as well. And you should know that Derek is on the zoo committee and is working on this plan with us, and he's been an invaluable asset, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I have a question. How were you said there were 900 people that responded to the survey. How were these people selected for?
They were self-selecting.
That's what I was concerned about.
We distributed the survey through the zoo, has a membership list. The Chamber of Commerce agreed to distribute it for us. I think the Art Museum put up posters, and Facebook and other social media. It is unbelievable. There is one question of how did you know about the survey? And most of the answers were from Facebook.
Okay.
So
Okay,
the
so it
one
wasn't
thing I
just a-
didn't mention, and I thought you would ask me really, is especially the question about, do you want to make improvements? And so many people said yes. We did an analysis of who said what. So we know that the people from Attleboro versus the people from out of Attleboro, those 2/3, they both came in with close to the same percentages.
Right
80
across the top, I have selected bias written.
No.
Yes.
83, there was 83%, both of them wanted to do it. And the next wanted to do it all. And the next one was, one said 83 and one said 85. They were very close together. So that question is not biased.
Okay, that's good to know. And then so you started to go over the next steps. Is there a timeline for this? Because I do know, as the Finance Committee Chair, and one of the things that we put in our message to the administration was that we wanted to understand what the plan was for the zoo by the time we start hearing about the budget for next fiscal year.
So what's your timing?
By next April-ish.
Oh, no. We'll be done I hope, by the end of September.
Okay.
We started in April. We've been meeting every other week. And I kind of pushed it up. So we met every week the last couple of weeks, but I think that was too much pressure on everybody. So we're going back to our every other week schedule. And we should be done by the end of September, I think.
And this includes reaching out to other friends of zoos and understanding all sorts of different options for the zoo potentially, and
What
sorts of
the
different
strategic plan does is, from all this data, everyone decides, well, what should our goals be for the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? And we end up with a matrix, which is like a map of what each goal is, what the strategies or objectives are to get and make that goal happen, and then under each of those, what are the actual action items that you have to do to make this plan operational? And then who's going to do it? What's the success measure? And what's the timing? Are you going to do it in the first 6 months, a year, 2 years, or 3 years? So it's a matrix. Did I answer that?
So there's different potential courses of action that we could take. And
Yes.
then different actions to get to. We could potentially double down and sort of invest a lot of money to repair the zoo, or we could say, all right, we're gonna close down the zoo, and then there's different steps to get there.
We're advising in the strategic plan not to close anything. Our job is to find the
And
right.
there's everything in between.
Right, is to find the routes that
Yes.
you might consider doing. Does that answer it?
Yes.
Good.
But everything in between, there could be a couple
A
different.
couple of options,
Yes.
yes.
Perfect.
Anybody else?
And so we'll have those options, you said, in
Well, you'll
September?
have the whole thing, and our opinions of what, what we saw and heard and what you should do in not only that matrix, but the strategic plan altogether. I'm not going to promise the end of September, maybe it'll go into October, but you're going to have it soon. That's not far away. We're
Great.
almost done.
Excellent. That's great.
Anything else?
Do you want to say anything about the positive news with the zoo numbers from, or is that outside your realm?
I saw the new numbers, and I thought Derek was excited, and certainly is somewhat of an improvement, but there are things we would like to see better.
Of course.
And I'm sure you would too.
Of course I would.
Yeah,
But it was positive to see that.
yes, yes. A small step. And we want a big step.
Of course.
And
Crawl
what we've
before you
talked
walk,
about
walk before
really is, we think this has to be quick, a real good turnaround. And so we've kind of made the plan in 2 phases. And the first phase is like the first 6 to 9 months, what really has to be done to make people notice that this is a great place, that it isn't tired. And there were things that, Derek and the whole team has suggested that would kind of make it a wow at first to get people's attention. So we're working on it.
Are there any other questions for Marilyn?
Well, thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
And have a good night.
Thank you all.
Half your audience is now
Thank you.
going to disappear.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right. All right, and we have a couple items here. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $556.68 from account 113310000-558010 Budget and Administration Data Processing Supplies to account 1133100057820 Budget and Administration Bills Previous Years for Amazon Business.
Second.
This is just a item that was missed by the MIS department for a previous year's bill. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to authorize the Council on Aging to pay a fiscal year invoice to RICO in the amount of $199.80. There is no transfer needed to pay this bill.
Second.
Motion is in order. This is to pay a previous year's bill for a copier for the Council on Aging. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to authorize the school department to pay a previous year school bill totaling $2,572.50 as identified by Ms. Perella's communication.
Second.
Motion is in order. This is split up between 4 different items. The previous year's bills approved by the school committee. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And from the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to authorize the school department to pay a previous year train bills in the amount of $28,414.28 as identified in Ms. Perella's communication.
Second.
Motion is in order. This one was a little bit confusing for me. There's an air conditioner tower that failed in May, and we needed to rent an air conditioner for Thatcher Middle School while we replace that. So this is paying for that rental. And it's, in talking to Mason, we're not sure if we'll end up having to cover this or not, because it may be covered by the air conditioner tower failing. We're trying to have the insurance pay for that from this failed thing. They're saying it's our fault. We're saying it's not our fault. Regardless, we need to pay the rental fee. It's a previous year's bill. It's important for the kids. It's important to make sure that there's mold and all these things. So regardless of anything, we need to pay this bill now. Whether or not this comes back we'll see. But right now, ultimately, like kid safety, like we have to pay the bill. So we don't have a choice on that. So, but that's what this is. And it's actually 2 bills. It's a $21,000 bill and a $7,000 bill. It's just the 2 bills for this air conditioner rental. Does that make sense? Councilor Tavares?
Is the replacement already in?
No.
Okay, so we're still operating on the rental.
Yes.
My understanding of this is that the rental is more of a stopgap.
It is, yes.
You try to identify exactly what the problem is and what those next steps could be.
Correct. Yes, that is correct. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I assume there will be more to follow on that at some point. And finally, from the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to authorize the school department to pay a previous year bill to Scott Cady in the amount of $2,200 as identified in Ms. Perella's communication.
Second.
Motion's in order. This is just a longevity payment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that concludes the business for the Finance Committee. I move to adjourn at 6:51.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:51.
The IT and Infrastructure Committee has no business this evening. That is also true for the Special Committee on Policy and Procedures.
Councilor Foe, do you mind canceling city property and claims as the second chair?
I move to cancel city property and claims.
Thank you. You don't need a motion.
I don't need to move.
You don't need to move.
Indeed. I cancel city property and claims for this evening. Thank
Very
you.
much. Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
You're up for licenses. You can cancel or you can read the piece of business from the docket of July 15th. Your call. I don't know if you had any communication with Mr. Lavoy.
Well, I was here for the public hearing.
Okay, if you're comfortable, you can read it.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I would
Okay.
call the license committee to order at 6:52. And Diana and I. And from the docket of July 15th, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve a license application for keeping a stand in a public place at 25 South Main Street, which is our senior center. From the Attleboro Garden Club, located at 24 Handy Street, to sell holiday wreaths and decorations, November 22, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion about it? I think it's very self-explanatory, and I think it's a great idea to use the senior center for this event. So I vote for it too, so the vote passes.
Oh, you need to call to the vote.
Yeah. All
All
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the vote passes,
Oh, you have to
and I
ask for
say aye
opposed.
too.
You have to ask for opposed.
Opposed, you're right. Opposed? There aren't any. Okay, vote passes 3-0, and that is all the business we have for tonight.
Thank you,
Do I
Mr.
call
Lawler.
for the,
Nope, you're all set.
all set?
Yep.
Fine?
Yes, sir. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to call Public Works to order at 6:53. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $59 from account 112410005783000, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 142-010005782020, Public Works, previous year's bills for reimbursement for a hoisting license attained in fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Thank you. This is just for a hoisting license. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to pay fiscal year 2025 invoices to Badger Meter for the wastewater department and water department, and transfer $6.38 from account 6000578300, wastewater enterprise fund reserve fund for transfer to account 6000578020, wastewater enterprise fund bills from previous years. Additionally, the mayor hereby requests your honorable body to transfer $9.58 from account 6100578300, water enterprise fund reserve fund for transfer to account 6100578020, water enterprise fund bill from previous years.
Second.
Thank you. So this is just part of the water meter replacement ongoing. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $43 from account 6000578300, wastewater enterprise fund reserve fund for transfer to account 6000578020, wastewater enterprise fund bill from previous years regarding Superintendent Wastewater Thomas Hayes' need to pay a fiscal year 2025 invoice for Meyer Corp.
Second.
And this is just a previous year's invoice. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to replenish funds in the heating account after an internal transfer was made to HVAC services account to diagnose and repair a freon leak on the HVAC system at the animal shelter, and transfer $2,566.62 from account 112410005783000, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1292100521010, animal shelter heating.
Second.
So as it says, they had used money from that account to fix the freon leak in the HVAC system, so they're just putting it back. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $284.31 from account 112410005783000, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1650100057820, park bills from previous years to pay an invoice from Rico USA.
Second.
Thank you. This is just to pay for a copier from Rico. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And my final motion from the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $45 from account 61005783000 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 61005780020 Water Enterprise Fund bill from previous years to pay a fiscal year 2025 invoice to home and commercial.
Second.
Thank you. This is just previous year's bills. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And that's all I have for this evening, and I'd like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 6:57. Thank you.
I'd like to call Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee to order at 6:57. Myself, and Councilor Roy, and President Delasso, if you can please fill in too.
Sure.
From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments regarding the anticipated receipt of the fiscal year 26 gaming, Massachusetts Gaming Commission Community Funds in the amount of $49,900. Monies from this grant must be expended no later than June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Thank you. So it's just receiving a grant. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $391,400 from account citywide reserve fund for capital to account police radios to cover the associated costs of replacing the police dispatch radio consoles.
Second.
Thank you. The system, it's over 20 years old. They're getting out of date, and you can't find parts for them anymore. So we're just going to see more and more of this. It needs to be replaced. That concludes my comments. Any other questions? I don't miss.
Yeah, just so, at the risk of stating the obvious, these radios are so vital to the safety of the police officers. I know years ago there was faulty radio, whether it was the radio itself, the signal, which led to an officer being attacked and unable to call for backup in a timely manner. So for the safety of the officers, this is really important. And it's also important to note that a lot of times, just like any other technology, it becomes really obsolete really quickly.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of July 15, 2025, I entertain a motion to amend section 6-4.3 of the revised ordinance as follows. Strike and replace the current ALS2 emergency rates of $2,492.35 with $3,834.97.
Second.
Thank you. So this, sorry, I think it didn't make it on everybody's motions, but we had the public hearing yesterday. If you recall, there was a communication and the wrong number was written down, so we updated that, did another public hearing, which happened Tuesday night, and so this is just making the correction there. And to be honest with you, I don't even, this might have been in finance at one point. I don't even know if it was in my committee originally, but it's here. We needed to update with the correct number, and that's all it is. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So I just wanted to kind of give an update. So we have a public hearing coming up in September about the ambulance, which it is quite costly, $717,000. And I did ask the chief to come down to speak on that, and then also the other ordinance change, and I asked the police chief to come down to speak on that, and that's not going to be until October. Those are the only updates for the committee, and I'll call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:01.
Human Resources and Veterans Committee is canceled this evening.
And also, I'm canceling zoning, land use, and sustainability committee.
And also the Transportation and Traffic Committee is canceled this evening.
I call ordinances, elections, and legislative matters to order at 7:01.
Great, you have one motion.
From the docket of August 19, 2025, I entertain a motion to accept and approve the disclosure of financial interest form from City Auditor Deborah C. Gould dated July 11, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Okay, so our city auditor, Deb Gould, has filed a disclosure under the state ethics law. Because we, as the council, are her appointing authority, it comes to us for review and approval. I had a conversation with Deb earlier this week, and basically here's the situation in plain terms. Deb, in her role as auditor, sometimes sits in on discussions with the administration and human resources about things like compensation rules, performance evaluations, time accruals, and other benefits for non-represented employees. And since Deb herself is one of those employees, those decisions could impact her personally. So that could create what the law deems a financial interest, which is why, in an abundance of caution, she's filed this disclosure form. She did this on the advice of the city solicitor. So it's really just about being transparent and keeping everything above board here. But the law does allow us to look at it as a council and decide whether the conflict is big enough that it should prevent her from participating in those discussions because of the potential conflict there. But I think it's important to know here, and Deb did mention this too in our conversation, that Deb isn't pushing herself into these conversations, right, with the administration. They've specifically asked her to be involved. And I think that speaks volumes as to the value that she brings in terms of the financial expertise that she has, and obviously her decades of institutional knowledge here in the city of Attleboro. So if she weren't in the room in those discussions, both the administration, I think, and the council would lose that perspective that she brings, which I think helps make sure that the decisions that are made at that level are well thought out and financially sound right before they go too far. So I think by approving this disclosure, we're not ignoring the potential conflict, but we're recognizing it, being transparent about it, and making the determination that it's not so significant that the conflict outweighs the benefits of Deb's participation. So basically, in short, we get to keep her valuable input at the table while still keeping everything above board in terms of the ethics rules. So I'm definitely in support of allowing Deb to continue to participate in these conversations, and I think the city's better for it. So, yes, Councilor.
I agree with everything you said. It makes complete sense.
Any other questions, comments, Councilor President Lewis?
It's council fine.
You look like Councilor back there.
You know, we're all. So I started talking to Deb about this probably in June, and we had several discussions about what's the best way to go. She did speak with Solicitor Mello. This just is another example of Deb's wisdom, transparency, and ethics. She's been around long enough to kind of see these sort of things come to fruition. I'm glad you talked about her institutional knowledge, because she does so much for so many, every department in the city. You know, she's certainly a wealth of knowledge. I think this is a situation where I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So again, kudos to Deb, the administration, and Solicitor Mello for having these discussions. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Sorry.
Motion passes. Call for an adjournment at 7:06.
Second?
Thank you. Motion is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Councilor Tavares, and then Councilor Tavares.
The special committee on tax payment review is canceled this evening.
And can you cancel the special committee on classification and
Yes, the
compensation?
special committee on classification and compensation is also canceled.
All right, that is it. Just remember to get your minutes to Virginia, and remember, we do not meet again until September 7th.